Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Vince.
That is not the worst of it. No, the worst is that you are dumb, you are ugly, and you have body odor that could kill the unwary.
Oh, it's fucking French. We got Chris.
You stink.
You both picked quotes from the same guy? Come on, man.
It was the best quote.
It was the best quote. Yeah, our main read wasn't super quotable. Both quotes from random guy showing up in Thunderbolts. That's okay. But today we are reading Superman Secret Identity. Very not quotable comic, I guess, but it's a 4-issue miniseries from 2004 written by same guy who wrote those one-liners. So I guess it is the same thing. It's Kurt Busiek, same guy who's read in Thunderbolts, who wrote Marvels. What else of his have we read?
JLA Avengers.
Oh yeah, lots of Avengers. He's done a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, Avengers Forever, a long time ago.
Yeah,
that was a long read, I think.
And this is a weird story. It's not in the DC universe at all. It's about a boy named Clark Kent who kind of hates being named Clark Kent because everyone makes fun of him. He's in our world, not a superhero world. And things go from there. Art by Stuart Immonen. Have we done anything with Stuart Immonen before?
Fear Itself. The
Yeah.
Marvel
Did
event.
Did we ever
Did we do
Next
that?
Wave?
Wait, hold on. Did we actually do Fear Itself?
We did. I think we did Fear Itself, where they all got
you're
like hammers and
right.
shit, right?
Yeah,
I
I
remember
remember.
that.
I remember being annoyed that Odin is like, "Don't push it, Iron Man." We're like, why does he talk like that?
Yeah, Fear Itself, and also Next Wave. Yeah, which Next Wave had really cool art.
Next Wave,
yes.
yeah. That's kind of what I think of when I think of Immonen art. And I think this is definitely him kind of trying something very different.
Yeah, he took over Ultimate Spider-Man because it was Bendis and Bagley, another Bagley connection. Bendis and Bagley had like the longest connection with just a writer and artist for like 100-something issues. They beat Stan and Jack's Fantastic Four, and then Bagley left like around issue 120, and Immonen took over the book from then. So that's where I know him from, and I think he's related. I'm not sure if it's married or siblings to Catherine Immonen, who did like Patsy Walker Hellcat. I want to say, Chris.
I don't know.
Okay.
I've read zero of that, and I don't know Stuart Immonen's family members.
Okay.
You want me to call him?
Yeah, let's call him. Stewie,
All
what's
right,
up?
let's get him live. But of course, after that, we're going to go on to Thunderbolts. We're reading that issue number 19. It's a full-on Kurt Busiek day. But let's jump into it. Is there any other preamble we need? It's a totally self-contained story here, so nothing.
I remember. Well, you always would like dump like stacks of comics for me.
Yeah.
Back when we lived in the same town, but this was one you just recommended to me digitally. And I don't know, and it was like later than usual, and you're just like, you gotta check this one out. I read it in 2014 the first time, and I said last episode is like, while my kid who's now 11 was an infant, and I'd stay up late and I'd read comic books on a tablet, and this was one of the ones I remember reading and really enjoying.
Yeah, I think I recommended it digitally because I didn't own a physical copy. That's all there was to it.
I definitely bought it through like whatever was it, comics or whatever. I don't even remember what app that Amazon.
Comics.com, man. Comics.com.
No, it wasn't Comics. It was whatever the comics app was. I don't even remember now. That's how long ago it was. I don't even know how to retrieve those digital purchases, but it was definitely. I bought it legit. I know that.
And Chris, you said you'd never read this, right?
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah. Wait, you still haven't? I hope you read it for this.
No,
We're talking about it.
It did look. It looked familiar. Like I might have like thumbed through it at a Borders or something 20 years ago, but I can't say for sure.
It's got a very dumb title.
That's what I was going to say. My least favorite thing about this whole book is just the title. Like, it's such a generic title that doesn't really tell you anything to even, like, kind of nudge you in the direction this might be a separate universe story that's kind of not what you expect. I don't know.
Well, Jeff Johns wrote, like, a Superman Secret Origin, like, a couple years later. And so I constantly was getting that confused with this. Because I don't know.
And then I think Superman Birthright was maybe around the same time as well, which
Wade,
also didn't help. Yeah. But anyways, book needs a better title. By the end of this, let's think of a better title for it. So we open with Clark Kent from Pickettsville, Kansas. Everyone's always bullying him about Superman, giving him presents and comics and stuff that just gets dumped into a closet because he hates it.
Which I
he's got
I get that, you know, like I have a friend named Angie List. like Angie's List. And so everybody always makes that joke the first time they meet her, and I'm sure I was guilty of it too. I know I was. And she's like, "Yep, I've heard this one before. Haha, very funny. Yep, Clark Kent likes Superman. Get it? Hilarious."
Yeah.
And everybody thinks it's so funny. Like they're the first person to come up with a joke. And his parents' name is like, "Yeah, you can always, always be able to find merch for yourself. You can always buy shit with your name on it." He's like, "This is a fucking stupid idea, like straight up." And I don't like Superman. So
also the stuff doesn't have Clark Kent's name on it.
Yeah.
like I would name your kid like Daredevil or something. Would be better.
I mean, you have to change your name first.
Oh, yeah.
And then name your son.
I don't know. Can you write in whatever last name you want on a birth certificate? I should have looked into that.
I think you can. Why not?
Now you can write in whatever first and last name or first and middle name.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So let's see. He's got a friend named Cassie that he's into. There's a jock who's always bullying him. All the typical Clark Kent digs. He likes to type on a typewriter. He likes books. He also seems to be a little bit of a loner. He likes to disconnect and sleep in the woods sometimes. His dad calls it his fortress of solitude, and of course he hates that. First time he went out there, he's like, "Ah, fuck that. I'm not going back." Well, one night he's out there. He's dreaming about like people clawing at him, all that kind of stuff, and he wakes up and he's just floating in his sleeping bag. And he just
his
starts
red
flying.
sleeping bag, which I think is a cool image.
Yeah,
so it kind of looks like a red cape for him.
I forgot it happened so quick in this book, which I'm
thought it was
glad
the
it did.
whole issue. I thought it was the whole issue to get to this point, and it was like 10 pages.
It was quick. And then he's got these new powers. He uses it to dodge the bully. He doesn't really use it for anything but flying yet. He starts to wonder what's going on, though. He asks his mom if he's adopted. Mom tells him not to worry. Dad says he's probably just feeling isolated, should open up and talk to people. So he was like, really kind of questioning, like, did I land in an alien spaceship and they're not telling me? I don't think he ever outright says that, but it's got to be what he's wondering. He's wondering now if he's a mutant, but he's just like, he knows he's going to get dissected if people find out. Flying home, he sees like a snow flood and he helps someone off a sinking car, which is like his first time actually helping anyone. But he tried to move fast enough so that no one would see him, but they did get some pictures from afar. Some people saw him. You really can't tell it's him. The government starts coming by, asking everybody questions.
It is funny because this came out in what, like 2003 or 4, right?
Yeah.
So this is before, like, this was like season 5 of Smallville's whole thing was that he's just like, oh, I'm just not going to wear a costume. I'm just going to save people, but so fast they don't know I'm doing it.
Right.
And he gets called the Blur.
Oh, I vaguely remember that. I don't think I watched
right.
Smallville season 5.
I what I like about this book, and it continues on, is it's very much continues like Kurt Busiek's like Marvel's and Astro City perspective of like what would it be like if a real person got superpowers, and I feel like it extrapolates that out. Like it's like I just like flying. I don't want to like fight crime or do any of that shit. Like I just want to fly. Oh, I guess I should probably save this person because I can, but also I don't want the attention. And like it's just like a very practical thing of like I don't want to be dissected by the government. Not that like he's going from that angle, not from like I want fame or not like I'm just a superhero and I'll just like just do whatever I want. It's very like it just feels so grounded in a way that I feel like Busiek has done before. But doing this with like proper DC characters is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I also like that this book kind of starts not planting seeds, but giving you a little bit of doubt that he might kind of be a villain because he's very like these bullies are still picking on him. Right. And at first he kind of uses it to dodge them, but then he's like, no, I should just kind of let them hit me. So I'm not giving anything away. But then Cassie feels sorry for him and he's like angrily typing, I need to know who I am, that kind of thing.
I feel like Superman Red Sun was around this time too, which the Superman, and that was the one where he was born in Soviet Russia. And that's where he did make a turn into like a villain at that one, I believe, right? So yeah, you're right. Like you're like is he actually Superman? Does he have powers? Like what's like it actually like sets a good mystery when like he's Clark Kent and he's Superman. Like it's pretty easy. It really is a good retelling of Superman's origin in a weird way.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say it's not really that, because this is it's happening in the real world. There's not other superheroes. Like, this is not the DC universe. So, and also people know, like, people give him these things because Clark Kent is Superman in comic books. So, like, as we'll get to, like, he is like suspect number one when they're like, I wonder if this blurred character is actually Clark Kent.
Yeah. But yeah, it does, like, it's not like a retelling of the origin, but it's like
it's like a
what
weird
do you call it?
alternate
It's a
universe.
Yeah.
It's like an alternate universe telling of that.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like, they do that stuff. Like, he's obviously like suspect number one by the government, but they like look at his extras like, no, he broke his arm or broke his leg at some point in his life. So yeah, like, he can't be Superman. It's real like Bruce Willis in Unbreakable logic. It's like, this guy's never had a cold ever in his life. Didn't you think that was weird?
But anyways, he's getting a little too emo, realizes he needs to talk to somebody. So he flies to the window of the reporter who kind of reported on the, I didn't mention that, ended up in the paper. I will say this doesn't feel like a very dense book, but a lot happens in it. I think there's no way we're going to be able to cover all little details and all that. And that's not even the joy of this book. It's just like the vibes of this book. It's got great vibes. But he goes to talk to this reporter who printed the first story about him when people thought they saw him. And she kind of seems like she just wants to get rich. But he agrees to kind of help her out. He's kind of buying into all that as well a little bit. Helps her by stacking the competing reporters' cars on top of each other, which seemed a little out of place. I didn't know where that really fit into everything.
He's a teenager, though. He's not always thinking well.
Mm-hmm. He did say he tried to, like, of course, he used it to, like, X-ray vision the girls' locker room. But then he stopped pretty quick. He's like, am I hurting them with my X-ray vision?
That was the other thing. It was like, he's more concerned about the radiation than, like, being a perv.
Yeah.
But, you know.
It's got to start somewhere, you know. But he does finally decide that he's going to reveal his identity to this reporter, get famous, all that kind of stuff. But he still wants to do it little by little, and he goes over there and realizes he's got a camcorder out when he had explicitly told her no. And we do see a bit of rage and red eyes from him. He destroys the camera, flies away. And she cries, saying, "Oh, it was just for the research to help you find where you came from." And he decides he's going to reveal his identity on his own. There's a Halloween carnival. He's dressed as Superman. And then at the carnival, there's a big gas main explosion, and he saves some people. He saves his friend Cassie. He's like holding up a beam, and all the reporters are in his face as he's dressed like Superman, holding this beam up, saving her life. And there's crazy reporters like trying to get in his face, like, "No, this is my story, my story." And he realizes he doesn't want to go public, so he purposefully kind of lets this thing falls on him so that it looks weak. The paper puts his picture in there, a Superboy hoax. And then it turns out the reporter rigged the explosions, and she's undergoing psych evals. Yeah, that's yeah. And then we get the scene that this was talking about with these agents being like, "Yeah, turns out it's not this Clark Kent kid. He's just a boy. Broke his leg when he was 6. False trail. Keep looking." But yeah, for a first issue, it is. I don't think we said it's 4 issues, and they're kind of bigger sized issues. But yeah, this thing kind of covers a lot of ground without feeling too condensed or like we're getting overloaded with stuff, you know. Any thoughts?
I like it a lot. I always thought that, when my memory of it is that it takes him a lot longer to discover he has powers, but not really, obviously.
Yeah, me too.
But he gets powers. He has a good origin. It's like, if I had powers, like, how would I handle this kind of stuff? Like his stuff with the reporter is really good. I don't like the gas main being set by the reporter. I feel like that's too much. I feel like this book doesn't have like any outright villainy other than like the government just kind of like hunting him. So the actual like idea that there's like an actual like villain just doesn't seem to mesh with the rest of the book. But other than that, I think that this is pretty interesting, and I like how, I don't know if it's in this issue or the other issue or the next issue, where he's like, I wear the Superman costume because then when they do see me wearing Superman, they're like, "Oh, it's Superman." Who, yeah, obviously, like they get distracted by that and they don't pay attention to my face, which I think is a really interesting concept.
Mm-hmm. And also hoping people will just be like, "No, that's just my mind playing tricks on me." And like, I fucking made up Superman.
Real.
You know?
Whatever.
Yeah.
Which I like.
I did on the lines of this book not really having villains. There was a line like early on where Cassie is telling him like, "Oh, I got to study for this test, trying to remember who Pizarro is for like a history test," which made me think of Bizarro, and I have to feel like that's intentional. I don't know. It's such a silly little thing, but it's all I can think of.
You just put the Bizarro.
Of course, what else?
Pizarro is this universe is Bizarro.
Well, that's not what I'm saying.
I mean, Pizarro exists in our world, Vince. I hate to tell you this.
He was a conquistador, but I don't know. I don't think he got to Texas, so I didn't learn about him.
Is there a Bizarro Pizarro?
Yeah, he actually helps the Incans or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Anything else to say about that first issue, before we jump to number 2? Let's do it. On to number 2. We've jumped forward in time. All these books jump forward in time for every chapter. But he's a writer at the New Yorker now, and his coworkers are still making fun of him, and he fucking hates it. But he's also helping like with plane crashes and things like that. And afterwards, of course, government agents are looking for prints or whatever on there. He has a talk with his boss at the New Yorker, who calls him a journalist. He's like, "Nah, I don't want to be a journalist. I don't want to be a reporter, just a writer." And she says his work is great, but it's detached. He needs to get out there, got to get laid, feel things, you know. Also set him up for a meeting with a publisher to get a book deal because she still thinks he's a good writer. He goes out for a drink with his friends after work, and they tried to set him up on a blind date. They didn't even tell him this was for a date. They like brought some other girl here named Lois. And she's like, "Oh my God, you fucking assholes!" And she's also tired of people all her life making fun of that, so she storms off.
This was one part I was just like, is this world of Superman like 10 times more iconic than it is in our world? Because I don't know that many Clarks, but like the idea that you would try more than once to set up just a random Lois and Clark, I'm like, I don't know if I buy that.
I agree. But it was funny to me.
He said he'd been set up with 17 Loises, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, I get it. His name is Clark Kent. This is the bit. Like, set him up with a mermaid, set him up with
I get that Clark Kent would be set up with a bunch of Loises. I don't believe that Lois Chowdhury would be set up with a bunch of Clarks. You know what I mean?
That part doesn't make a lot of sense to
They
me.
fucking love Lois and Clark in this universe. It is the New Adventures of Superman. That is a great TV show. It ran for 4 seasons, and everybody's sad that it's over. That's the iconography of this universe. They love that. They love Terry Hatcher. They want to set her up with the Clark.
You're just describing our universe, man.
It won every Emmy.
Well, okay, maybe not.
Dean Cain, Oscar winner after Superman ended. Anyway, he never had to become a conservative in this version because he's successful.
And make a lot of dog movies. He made so many dog movies too.
Yep. So anyway, it's the evolution. The evolution of the conservative actor is TV actor, family movie actor, conservative actor. Yep. Anyway, so yes, she tries to run off, but he doesn't let her.
Yeah, he kind of goes after her, saying, "Yeah, this sucks for me too, but my plans have also fallen through, so let's get dinner." And they fall in love, and it's sweet. A big part of this book is them kind of falling in love and him loving it and all that. And he decides that he's going to tell her he's Superman when she gets back from a work trip. And meanwhile, he kind of goes, helps a boat that's wrecked in the ocean, but it's a government trap. Ah! And they zap him out of the sky and put him in a big science tube. Did we ever decide on the right name for these things? Science tubes?
Back to containers.
What?
Back to containers. That's what they're called in Empire. That's what it's called in Empire Strikes Back.
Oh. I like science tubes.
Science tubes, okay.
And they're operating
Weapon
on
X
them and
tubes.
stuff, taking his blood. Yeah, Weapon X tube. We see somebody. I caught this when like one of the voices. You just get random snippets, like estimated age at time of meteor strikes. I'm like, oh, okay. And they sedate him a bunch as he's starting to wake up, but then he wakes up in the middle of the night, breaks out, sees some classified documents, sees some other bodies, sees a baby, and he goes kind of apeshit. Destroys the place, beats up a bunch of guards. Gets home, doesn't leave his apartment all weekend, makes up an excuse about his dad for work. Then when he does go back to work, he starts wearing glasses. Not to try and disguise from his friends, but trying to disguise from any agents who just got a brief look at him, you know? Which makes sense, actually. I like that this book made sense of Superman's secret identity glasses, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, he should also get like a haircut.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
No, just glasses.
Just glasses.
This haircut is great. I'm not ditching it.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the time to get like the Superboy, like shave the sides. Just have
Yeah.
that real douchebag haircut the Superboy had at the time.
I really like in the new Superman movie that Clark Kent has like a Patrick Mahomes haircut, and like with like the kind of like curly on top, and then he slicks it back to be Superman. Which is also what Dean Cain did, kind of like he had like messy hair and then slicked back Superman hair. I feel like that was a good call rather than having the same haircut for both Clark and Superman. So
Yeah,
Does that mean that Superman like carries gel with him?
that's right, Super Gel.
Yeah, it's in the cape. It's a little like it's part of, it's a little, isn't there supposed to be like a little zipper in the cape where he like puts his clothes or some shit?
A zipper in the cape. What are you talking about?
I
Out of your
recall
mind?
somebody asked Superman where he puts like his clothes when he changes, and he has like a little zipper in the cape that he puts he folds his suit into, like his human suit.
It's humans.
Human suit.
His business suit. He's walking around rather than leave it in a little like web bag.
Oh yeah, like not Spider-Man style. He just takes it with him.
Yeah.
Your anti-alien bias, Vince.
Yeah.
His human suit.
All right. So, anyways, he wears these new glasses to work, and one of his coworkers is like, "Oh wait, is that Clark Kent? I don't recognize him." And Clark like snaps at him, like, "Shut the fuck up, man."
Again, a world where this is like a thing that people love to talk about.
I mean, poor Clark Kent. I can imagine it draws that out of you. Even someone who's not a Superman fan, I could imagine a shitty coworker being like, "I gotta read some Superman comics so I can come up with some better zingers." He works with some assholes. I guess it. I don't know. Do you think people like that work at the New Yorker? Yeah, I think so.
I mean, based on the people that work at the Atlantic, yes.
Did you ever work at the Atlantic? How do you know? What's going on with the Atlantic? Is there something I missed?
I mean, just the national news.
Oh yeah, okay.
They keep getting added to group chats.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. Took me a while. Thank you. What else is there now? So he's trying to be careful. He's not sure if he wants to tell Lois anymore that he's Superman because it'd be unsafe. And he kind of snaps at her too a little bit when she's like, "Oh, you just have writer's block." And he's kind of worried about ruining it. And he shows up at her place with a picnic basket, tells her he's Superman. And they have a very sweet moment. She says, what does she say about she's also a criminal? She like stole something and went to juvie or like, whatever. It's not our criminal record, but she's also hiding from the government. Anyways, it was a sweet moment, but she supports him, I guess.
Just, that she had a secret that no one knows as an adult.
Yeah. But yeah, very sweet.
They fly to South Carolina or somewhere to eat crabs.
Yeah, why not? I mean, that is the nice thing about like you can just get great food anytime. I wish I could fly. That's all. That's what I would do with Superman's powers.
It is one of those things like, obviously the book doesn't want to go in that direction, but they want to be like realistic with all of these things. But at the same time, Superman can just like fly a normal woman, through the airspace, at like several hundred miles an hour, and like she's fine. And don't think about it.
Yeah,
don't think about it.
He exudes that protective aura.
Yeah. It's not like he accidentally like blows anyone's limbs off when he like super speed, grabs.
And like being caught by Superman, I imagine it still has to hurt a little bit. Like if you're falling out of the air, like if he drops her once on accident, like I don't imagine he was like weak enough to drop her, but you like, you lose you're like, "Oh, look at that bird over there," or whatever. Look at the clouds, you kind of drop her and you go, gotta get you.
He's still got to hit her like it's still like you're falling at some type of force and it stops you. He's got to be like a wall. He's not like a squishy wall. I don't know how he absorbs the energy.
No, he knows how to do it.
He knows
it's like you got to fly down. Like, yeah, you got to fly downward as you're catching them and just kind of like slowly right yourself. You can't catch anyone going upwards because then you'll just like you'll punch through them.
Right, and you can't just grab their leg as they're falling, like Spider-Man tried to.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we know that
That's the
doesn't
wrong
work.
way to go.
Yeah, that's the wrong way. You got to support the neck. Yeah. Anyways, I feel like chapter 2 is the one that kind of had the least going on. It does build up a lot of stuff, and of course the relationship with Lois, but it feels like it's kind of just the relationship with
Yeah,
Lois.
well, and
Yeah.
him caught by the it's all wordless where he gets caught by the government, and that's like
That's
a
true,
quarter
yeah.
of the page count.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, you're saying a lot happens. It does have a lot of 1 and 2 page spreads with like no dialogue, but they're cool. I mean, it just for being like 50 pages for some of at least one of these issues,
Mm-hmm.
like these read pretty fast.
Mhm.
They really do, yeah. Go ahead, Vince.
Yeah, I feel like they're all. Well, I mean, they vary in page length when we're reading digitally, like on DC Infinite, but I feel like that's just because of the double page spreads. Whether or not it's like probably in print like 55 pages, 52,
Something like that.
probably
yeah.
60 with a few like 8 to 10 pages of ads would be my guess.
Yeah. So on to chapter 3. He's a best-selling author now. Hooray! They're building a
Fortress.
house. Yeah, it's called Fortress. His wife is. I think they said she was like worked in fashion in the first time they met, but now she's an environmental designer. What is that?
She designs environments. I don't know.
But I don't know what that is.
Sounds important.
but
It sounds like George
it does-
Clooney's wife, who's actually like does good stuff for the world, and George Clooney's an
Well,
actor.
I think you're saying that because it has the word environmental in there, which is like that's got to be good. But environmental designer makes me think she's just putting together nice landscapes for like I don't know, like
She's like Rainforest Cafe designer or what?
like it not to that extent necessarily, but that's kind of where my head's at. Is that what she's doing? Like she's designing real world, like like oh let's guide this coral reef and people can dive down through. I don't know.
Ooh, maybe she's making fake coral reefs for because they do that with like concrete and shit to like rebuild the coral reefs. Maybe she does that.
She might do
That'd
that.
be cool.
Yeah.
But didn't she like win some? I mean, I feel like it's more like interior design, like environments.
Uh,
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling about it. Anyways, we'll never know. We could look it up, but what would be the point of that?
Also, he's a
well-
writer who lives in Maine. What does he hang out with Stephen King? Is Clark Kent doing a bunch of coke with just a regular guy named Stephen King? Like, no, I'm actually not a writer.
But he knows of Stephen King, and people are always
Yes, in my world, people are always mocking me.
Yeah.
so
let's see.
urban design is like making green buildings, urban gardens, stuff with like
There you go.
zero footprint and stuff.
Okay. So Clark Kent also has got a tree stump now that leads to like down through the ground that he's hollowed out, leads to Cape Cod, so that he doesn't lead the government back home, trying to be safer.
I do
he's
like
also
this little. I like this little runner of like all the times he's
Yeah.
like playing with the government and like trying to be like,
Mhm.
I'm gonna let them think that I am gonna fall into their trap and then I'm not. Just so they like think that like, oh man, it almost worked. So we'll keep trying that, as opposed to like I heard them from fucking like Africa. Like I could hear it coming. Like,
Yeah.
But I want him to think. I like that.
Mhm. Yeah, he's doing a ton of like Robin Hood stuff, taking stuff that they're using for like military missions and taking it to people who need aid, messing with the planes as they're coming around, all that stuff. Let's see what else going on. His wife tells him he's pregnant, and he's super excited about it, but he also gets a lot more nervous thinking about what this means for them, just the safety of everything, and he doubles down on kind of figuring out where he came from to see if they're going to have anything. And just kind of been doing a lot of research on anything weird, paranormal, alien. It's kind of become his little side hobby of looking up all that stuff. And then they find out they're having twins. Whoa. And he keeps seeing government trackers and stuff, and he's getting more nervous. He realizes he's got to make this stop. He's got to go to them. So he purposefully takes their bait, and they blast him out of the sky. He's like, oh shit, their guns have gotten stronger, but at least he was expecting it this time. Destroys like their guns and cameras, and talks to this agent. Malloy is his name. And he offers them a deal. He says, I'll help you like save lives. I'll help you with anything, but I won't help with assassinations, nothing political, as long as you get off my back. And Malloy goes, why the offer now? And that kind of makes Clark flinch. And one of the like snipers or whatever who's got an eye on him. He's like, oh my god, he's going, he's gonna move, and they fire at him and all that, and they zap him down again as he tries to fly away, but he zooms away and he hears them talking about, oh, we won't quit till we get that thing in a cage. He kind of can't forget it. But he kind of doesn't stop trying. He gives Malloy a note to meet him with a latitude, longitude, and he keeps doing more mischief, swapping missiles between ships between the coasts.
He doesn't want to. He says he wants to show that he can do things, but he also doesn't want to like hurt America's like operational capacity. So he like takes like all the West Coast nukes and puts them on the East Coast boats and vice versa. So like they clearly know he did something, but like we still have the same nukes in the same places, so it's okay.
Like a lot of it's fun, and I get it. He puts Superman.
He should put every nuke in a big net and just thrown it into space.
I mean that would be better, but this is a different Superman.
But that way he could be like, this is a prank. I'm doing this because Superman did it in my world in the movies.
Like in the movie, you get it. It's a bit.
He does. He like puts comics in the government's briefing files and stuff. The one thing I didn't understand how he did, he's during like election debates, he played old Superman cartoons on TVs. How did he do that?
I guess he just rigged the satellite.
Maybe
he just moved really fast.
That doesn't. Something about that. I don't know if he would have known how to do that. That's okay.
He read a book about how to do it and then flew around really fast and did it.
I guess he could read stuff. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know when the book started, but YouTube's probably around by now, right?
I don't think it was.
But well, because this book is like had like 10 years of the. It's like 10 at least 10 years have passed. I don't know if the book started in 2004 or the book started in the 90s somewhere. I feel like they were watching 90s TV shows at some point in the first issue. But either way.
He's probably about our age. It's the weirdest part.
Yeah.
And we're reading it at all the different. Kia, we've read this book at all the different periods of his life now. Okay.
Yeah, you read it.
I've read it
issue
twice.
Issue 2 and issue 3 ages.
Yep. Now the kid's 11. Yep. The girls are like 20 in the next issue. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's also how you know when you're dying, after you've read Superman's Secret Identity for the 4th time. That's all you get in life.
So if I never read it, I'll live forever? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's the rule. That's the
right.
rule. But it doesn't work on people who haven't read it. It's only people who've read it 1 to 3 times.
Okay.
Which is like honestly great. Listener, get on this. Get on this.
This is the true secret.
It's the true secret to immortality. So he eventually does finally meet with Malloy. Malloy's asking him, like, what the fuck are you doing, man? Proving how dangerous you are? And yeah, he says the opposite. I just want to save lives. I want you to back off. If you don't back off, you're going to turn me into everything you fear the most. So if you want my help, just run an ad in this Albuquerque paper. And Malloy's like, that will take way too long. What if it's an emergency? He's like, well, we'll build up to that. You got to build my trust. And so he goes and buys the Albuquerque paper at various international newsstands in Canada, which I wonder how many newsstands in Canada carry the Albuquerque paper. That doesn't seem like a thing, but I don't know. Do I not understand how newsstands really work?
I mean, it's not the Chicago Sun-Times or the New York Times. That's probably a better reference, right? The New York Times.
Also, yeah, that's true. New York Times is everywhere, but it's also Canada, so you're probably getting like a few years too late. You're getting Albuquerque's news from like, oh, all the blockbusters are closed. You're like, great, that already happened.
Thanks, Albuquerque.
Superman, help with this tornado that happened 3 days ago. Well, it took us to run the ad and then print it and then driven up to Canada. Yeah,
exactly. So,
no, but early
plan.
on. But they're mostly using him for like military missions of like, hey, we need your help on this thing. We need your help on that thing, you know? But they do eventually, like they do kind of back off, and he's doing jobs for them here and there. And he finds trackers every now and then, or like, you know, stuff like government devices, and he just destroys them and drops them off in Malloy's desk with a little note like that.
Also, he says that he wears like colored contacts and like changes the shape of his ears or something. I'm like, what is all this? This is so silly.
It is like, I do kind of like that in a little way of like just trying to change his face a little bit, just to change those details. It doesn't feel like it necessarily fits into this comic, but it like when you do the glasses, and it's like, okay, take it a step further, like adjust my face a little bit. It kind of makes sense.
But like
I guess.
Clark Kent
But
does
it's-
like national TV, doesn't he? Doesn't he do? Isn't he been on like the Today Show several times?
And like he's on the back of a book jacket, like looking off into the middle distance. Like you're gonna.
Well, I
that
imagine
guy
that's
looks like
probably why
Superman.
he wants to like cover, just change it up just a little bit, make my chin a little bigger,
I would just wear a
Make my
mask
nose
at
a
that
little bigger.
point.
Exactly. Like then
That's
just
also,
like
yeah.
dress up, like put on a hat.
That's annoying.
Or
I
the
don't want to wear a mask when I'm doing.
didn't they
superhero
say
stuff.
like Juggalo makeup is like perfect at like getting around facial recognition software because the way it does like the highlights and shadows. Like you should just put on
Honestly?
Juggalo makeup.
Honestly, all superheroes should be juggalos. And not just because
All
James
Juggalos are
Brown Posse makes
superheroes,
great
but
music.
not all superheroes are Juggalos.
Yeah.
Exactly. What else?
What's that? New York. It's not really a holiday, but that thing where a bunch of not just juggalos, but juggalos are there, and then they all dress like Santa.
No, you're talking about SantaCon. That's
SantaCon.
Wait, do juggalos? Is that a juggalo thing now?
I don't think it's a juggalo thing. I just think juggalos are there.
I mean,
'Cause it's about
juggalos are
binge drinking.
juggalos are everywhere, man. They're really not.
I just feel like that the people who go to SantaCon are like, if they're not juggalos, they're close. So that Superman could infiltrate those guys, dress as Santa Claus.
What about a bizarro juggalo?
What
Wait,
about-
no. What about a juggalo Pizarro?
I was thinking about there's somebody reading about juggalos, but there's no juggalos in their world. And then his parents name him Violent J as a joke, and his sibling Shaggy Two Dope.
In our world, this was a band, kind of.
Yeah. If the ICP did not exist, we'd have to invent them.
Exactly.
Exactly.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled.
All right. How do we get on juggalos? All right. Yeah, facial recognition software. Anyways, let's see. Superman's wife, Lois. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, I was just gonna say, yeah, he misses the birth of his daughters because he's saving some hostages in South America or something.
Yeah, and it's like he knows this is like a political thing because they could have asked him to do it 2 weeks ago, but they were doing it after the election instead. But he doesn't care. He's still saving lives. He just wishes he could be there for the birth, and he's kind of listening to it the whole time. Lois was okay with him leaving. He's like, yeah, she's like, I know you got to do this. And as he's leaving, the nurse is like making a comment about men, and Clark just kind of smirks at it, like, you don't know. And he shows up right after the birth, holds the kids, promises he'll keep them safe.
He promises not to name them Lana or Pete or any of the other side characters.
Yeah, nothing like that.
Superman world.
No Jimmy Olsen.
Jimmy.
No Jimmy. Yeah. But as we find out, the rest of his family does not have the same thing in mind because we get a lot of other. So chapter 4, he's an older man now. His kids are grown up, probably about 20 or so. They're in college and stuff. One of them has a boyfriend who won't stop talking about how great Clark's books are. They're teaching them in colleges. He's pretty famous. He hates how much this kid is sucking up. Oh my God. I think that's just one of I love Superman like just hating his daughter's boyfriend. Like, I don't know. That's just good.
I don't know if he
That's just
hates
good
them. He's
stuff.
just like perturbed.
Annoyed by them.
Ugh.
Yeah.
This one,
Exactly,
this one's not
exactly.
gonna stick around. It'll be fine.
He's like,
But I gotta put up with it for Christmas. Ugh. Okay.
Yep.
All
Yeah.
right.
I do like that as he goes outside to go do Superman business, he like waits around to see if like that guy didn't follow me, did he?
Yeah. And he's getting weaker. He kind of never thought his powers might go away, but he's noticing that like I think the first sign of it was that he was dealing with something. He was in an alley, and like some homeless person in the alley behind him was like, "Is that Superman?" And he just kind of didn't even realize they were there, and so
Like
it freaked him out.
hearing's not
He's
as
like,
good,
"I should." Yeah, he's like, "I gotta actually like concentrate now to like do stuff."
I feel that.
Yeah. He gets called in by Agent Malloy, who's going real gray now. He's pretty old. And there's Agent Malloy offers him club soda. He's like, "You want a refill on that?" And he goes, "Nope." And I've made sure to wipe my fingerprints off the glass. And I also took care of this other thing that I found that your people tried to track me with. And he's like, "Yeah, sorry, new blood at the home office. What are you gonna do, man?"
I really like
I get
how
it.
how like he only has like Malloy has like what 3 scenes maybe in this entire book.
Yeah.
But like you get like the whole arc of their relationship like by this. Like yeah, they've been doing this for 20 years. They're coworkers, they're old friends, but also at the same time like kind of always having this like cat and mouse game with the spy stuff. Like it's really really cool like how
Mhm.
efficiently that relationship is built.
Like, and the scene that comes later as well for a scene, yeah, exactly. For someone who barely got any screen time, like that last scene, like hits you real hard, and it's super like
Yeah.
good. I don't know.
Mhm.
Oh, all right, we'll get to it. So,
Superman, super good.
super good. Let's see. He also is like realizing he tells him like, "Hey, you didn't call me for that job the other day at this thing. You didn't need me." He's like, "No, we were able to handle it without you. We're okay." They're kind of realizing they need him less and less. And he's been seeing more and more stories about things that are paranormal and extraterrestrial, more and more stories about people breaking records, things like that, like athletic records. So we started snooping through classified records for the government and found so much stuff like data on solar radiation changes that might trigger mutations, Nazi experiments, nerve gas accidents, all that kind of stuff. And then he's telling Lois about the kind of thing he found that was worrying him. A lot of little meteor strikes in Kansas in 1988 when he was 13. So there's your time frame.
Okay.
Vince.
So he's born like in 75. Okay.
Yeah. Um, and he's wondering, like, did those meteor strikes did do something to me? And he's kind of like wishing he could get tested, but Lois is like, yeah, we can't risk that. They also we see that they tested the kids when they were younger, like not officially, but like, can you lift this thing, honey? And she's like, Mom, I want to stop lifting things. So they felt terrible and stopped doing that. But then he's wondering, like, if all this stuff is out there, like, could they have more willing agents doing this stuff? Do they have like camps training superhuman people? That's weird. But at the same time, if they care less about me and my daughters, then that'd be okay,
Yeah. He's simultaneously like, that's great that like they're gonna leave me alone, but also like there were dead bodies and like baby bodies in that room. Like what the fuck? Like that was I'm not gonna forget that. Like every time he's like, I'm helping the government, like this is still fucked up. Like real fucked up.
Mm-hmm. I think he has some moment of like thinking every now and then, like I kind of thought about getting Malloy a bottle of scotch or something, but then I remembered that room and I'm like, oh, I just can't fucking do that. Yeah. So he's dealing with a tornado in Australia, and he hears some voices or something, and he's like, "What the hell is that?" And the tornado kind of gets taken care of on its own. Whatever the voices were, they like took the tornado apart from the inside, basically, which is what he was gonna do when I was gone. And he heard a voice laughing as he went away. I was like, "Wait a minute, no, that's two voices." And he's like, "Holy shit." And he realized that's his daughters. And he tells Lois, but he's also not sure he wants to confront them because he never told his parents. It's got to be up to them. But they do invite them over, and he leaves out basically everything we're reading from his point of view is like stuff he's been typing into a typewriter that he doesn't plan to publish anywhere, but it's kind of just for him. And he leaves a manuscript of this journal just kind of on the table. He knows that they like to read his books and stuff that he's working on, and he just kind of leaves it there for them to check out if they want to. And then later, next scene, he's going to help a derailed train, and he almost can't handle it. But then two extra sets of hands show up to help, and they're both dressed in, super cape stuff.
This drawing of them because it's not Marvel's. I mean, because it's not Alex Ross, but the way it's like painted and the way it's drawn, like they both have kind of like 50s haircuts, so it evokes Marvel's to me for some reason. Just that image of seeing the two girls in costume for the first time. I don't know why.
I'm looking at it again. Their heads look weird.
It's weird poses, but like I feel like the way it's shaded and colored, like it feels like
I see what you're saying about that. Yeah.
And we haven't mentioned, but that all of the issues like begin. I guess the fourth one begins with kind of a weird one, but all of the first three issues all begin with like a Kurt Swan like looking like classic Superman, where they they make it look like it's like 40s like golden or silver age, where it's like the coloring is very different, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's digital obviously because this is like the earlier mid 2000s, but like I like the sort of Superman family kind of aspect of it. Like, and I think of the third issue, they have like Supergirl and Crypto and all of the like Superman like hangers on, and this is kind of like this happening for him is like, oh yeah, now I have super kids.
Yeah. It's nice. It's sweet.
It really is.
And they fly over some horses together. A nice big 2-page spread with some horses. Taking up that page count. Let's see. They talk to Lois as well and tell her, and the girls were scared that they think that they were freaks, but at least they had each other to talk to. And the government never tried to capture them, but the government like did give them word that they wanted to negotiate. So he's like, okay. They're going on a job, and he's sitting there worried, talking to Lois, like, oh my God, why aren't you worried? And she's like, I'm kind of used to it with you, to be honest.
Yeah, I've had 30 years to learn to get used to this concept. You're just figured this out today. Okay. That's worrying. That's interesting.
Malloy calls him in to tell him he's retiring. He's 65. And Clark's like, oh, okay, well, it's been a pleasure. And Malloy says, no, it hasn't, man. You hated us. Like, you only did this because, like, we tried to capture you and you want us to, like, to keep your family safe. And, like, and he says, like, you know, it's okay. Things have changed, Clark. You can feel safe. And Clark's like, Clark? He's like, yeah, like, I'm good at my job, you know. You kind of messed up a few times here and there, but don't worry. I never told anyone. And I've really liked your books throughout the years. And Clark's like, oh, okay, well, thanks. Maybe I will get him that bottle of scotch.
It's such a good little scene. It's only 2 pages, but like you're like, yeah, I'm good at my job. Like I feel like when Ben Urich revealed, like, yeah, I know who you are, Peter Parker. Like, you're obviously Spider-Man. Like, I remember reading that, and I was like, oh, yeah, you're not that careful, but it's fine, man. I feel like it evokes that same scene to me. I'm like, oh yeah, this is really cool.
It made me think of Gattaca, if y'all have seen that movie, where
Ethan Hawke,
at the end. Yes, Ethan Hawke and what's his name? I'm blanking on his name now, but talented Mr. Ripley, scumbag, The Holiday. No,
Jack Black.
Jude Law. Jude Law. And they swap places, and he's using like Jude Law's DNA to pretend that he has like perfect DNA. And then like the guy that like he takes his urine sample or whatever is like, good luck out there, and like uses his real name. He's like, oh, you know, and he's like, oh yeah, but I don't care. Like I want you to do this. It's a similarly powerful moment of like this authority figure being like, yeah, I know, but I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah. Really nice. So I think one of my favorite little scenes in the book. So it's the holidays again. He's continuing to get a little bit older. He's got. I didn't mention the book opened, I think, with the holidays, and they gave him this little Superman Grim Reaper. His family loves making fun of him for it because they know he hates Superman gifts, so they always give him Superman gifts. And it's like an old man Superman with a beard to remind him of his own mortality. And then we jump to the way future. He's super. Got a white beard. He's not typing on a typewriter anymore. Digital screens, because they don't make typewriter ribbons. It's not worth making his own. And it's also not as big of a deal anymore because superhumans are everywhere. They're kind of public. Flying cars are everywhere. One of his own grandkids can fly. What'd they name the kid? Get Jimmy?
Is it Jimmy and I think a Perry?
Perry, yeah.
And a Clark, yeah. He writes a book about the birth of superhumanity using all that research that he never really thought he could use for anything. He still doesn't want to put himself in it because he likes his privacy. And then we get a few like kind of different art styles at the end. I don't know if this is just Immonen doing different art or if they got guest artists for it. It kind of looks like Immonen's other styles, yeah. And then a
little Darwin cookie, but
a little Darwin cookie, but yeah. And then he goes to see a sunset. and talks about sunsets being nice endings, but you can always just fly a little further east and get another sunset. Beautiful book. I mean, well, it was the things that we couldn't really describe is, like I said at the beginning, the vibes throughout. It's just like it's so well written throughout and like connects to human life in such a nice way. I love it. Vince.
Yeah, I
Go
mean,
ahead.
like like one. I think like the economy of storytelling. I think is. I mean, they're bigger issues, but they're also like not very dense at the same time. But like you still get like the where we started was like him as a teenager getting powers, and by the end he's like an old man with a whole family. And there's like a 20-year jump in the middle there. But like I feel like I got like the totality of this man's life, and just like his love. Like there's the whole like you get the whole sense of like him like playing with the government and wanting to get tracked, like it doesn't matter anymore, and just like it's just like very good and pleasant. Like I was thinking while I was reading, like fuck, this might be one of the best books we read for this entire show. It's top 5 at least. Like I really like this book. I just feel like it's really good and pleasant, and I feel like it's everything I want out of a comic book, and especially like a limited series. And Busiek's like at the top of his game here. It's like, or it's a different game than what he's going to do for Thunderbolts, but
For sure, yeah.
But it's very odd, and I feel like it's probably closer on like his Marvel's like Astro City trek than what he does for like Marvel usually or DC usually. So
Yeah.
it's very good. I really like this book, but I am curious what Chris thought.
Yeah, Chris.
I really like it too. I will say, like, I haven't read all of the Astro City he did after like DC like owns it, and they did like 2 or 3 more trades. So I can't say I've read all of it, but it does fit into Astro City, I think, because I really love Astro City.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of that, which isn't really shocking. It reminded me too of did we read it for this or did I read it for another book club? Spider-Man Life Story. That came out a few years ago about Spider-Man getting old.
No.
Yeah, Vince, I think you would really like that. I really liked it. But because it's just the idea of like seeing the characters grow and like kind of, and the fact that he lived a real life is just like so refreshing in comic books. It's very sweet. It's very human. I like it, but I don't think I loved it quite as much as Vince did. The art's great, though. I will say the art is very, very good.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Vince. I love this a lot, more than I remembered liking it, which is surprising. Yeah, maybe I'm just older and able to appreciate it more.
I feel I just turned 40 last month, and I'm like, man, I am slowing down. So all those like. We started, so all those like with Superman's like, man, I'm not as fast as I used to be because I used to be a marathon runner. I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling the vibes, Superman. Like, yeah, I'm not as fast. I get it. So I'm like, oh yeah, and I probably wouldn't have had that when I read this in my 20s.
Right.
Not me. I'm faster than ever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Vince. My birthday's
Thank you.
coming up.
I know
which
your
means
birthday's
yours just
coming up,
happened.
right? Yeah,
so,
exactly. Happy birthday.
And also just thinking about, like you were saying, the how different Busiek's style is, because I think he also knows when he should and shouldn't write like a typical comic, because his Avengers stuff and his Thunderbolts that we're reading, like even when they have their emotional moments, they're still very comic booky, whereas these emotions are so like, it's just such a different writing style. And yeah, I don't know how he knows when to do it, but he just knows. The guy knows. But
good writer.
yeah, turns out good writer. So anything else to say about this before we jump to his other book? All right, so on to Thunderbolts number 18. Atlas is back on the team. They're in the Rockies. Atlas is brooding on a cliff. I think he's giant size right now. Well, why would you be giant size when you're chilling on a cliffside? Like, be small. You don't want to knock that thing over. Jolt comes to talk to him. We got a lot of Atlas backstory here. He was always working for different supervillains. He was fucking crazy, letting people down, disgraced his family, watched his brother die, turned on Zemo. He doesn't tell Jolt about the part where he helped save Zemo's life. And then he was worried because he felt that same kind of crazy rush when he was beaten on Graviton last issue, and he thinks the team shouldn't trust him. But Jolt has good advice. He knows the problem, which is half the battle, and he'll be okay. You should trust him.
This is exactly what you were talking about, though, because this is like Busiek in like a completely different mode where he's just like, this character gets used as just like a punching bag and a henchman for various villains, and he has no internal life or like character issue to issue. He's just like an angry guy.
Yeah.
And so he's just like, yeah, I was basically insane for like a pretty wide stretch.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I do love that like comic booky version of I guess all versions of Kurt Busiek. They really just love comic book history. Like they can't get enough of it. And he I imagine that he had so much joy just writing this scene, stringing together the life of Atlas and building this full backstory for him,
It's so cool. They have like the images of like all the different like bosses he worked for, like the Mandarin, the Grim Reaper, Count Nefaria. I love that shit though. Like when we were doing like superior foes of Spider-Man, and you're like, yeah, this guy, he tried to replace Bullseye, and then he did this other thing, like he wanted to work for the Kingpin, then he did this other thing. Like I like that history, and I like, because I don't ever think of like these like third, fourth level henchmen. Like I would not. I don't think I usually track like, oh, this guy was here and now he's on this team. I don't track them that way, and so to see like, oh, he does have a rich like publishing history. Like that makes me feel like I'm connected to something.
Right.
And it's just like that's the level of like, oh, obviously like Dr. Octopus has like everyone kind of knows his, I mean, I say everyone, Marvel nerds know like his big plans and like what he did. But if you're like Electro, like month to month, you could just be showing up and like, oh, I moved to like San Francisco. Oh no, Spider-Woman's beating me up. Like it's just, you're a villain of the week for whoever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, that's kind of like Goliath. I remember he got beaten up by Luke Cage because he used to be Power Man, and like that's just the kind of character he is. Like he's just a loser of the week, and he's not even like the main villain. He's just like the heavy for them.
Yeah. I kind of came out of this a little bit thinking like, gosh, it feels like Atlas is getting so much more focus than the rest of the team. But then I realized that's really not it, because the rest of the team does get plenty of focus, but all their stuff is more interconnected in terms of like team relationships, whereas Atlas feels like his problems are kind of separate from everyone else a little bit,
Yeah.
He's
been dealing with like the Dallas like subplot where, and I will say like, the one knock, and I get it, it's monthly comics, but you never know that like somebody's gonna, I was reading, I didn't read Secret Origins when I was 21 or whatever, but I was reading this when I was like 13. And so it's just like, I didn't necessarily read it, or I didn't necessarily have every issue guaranteed. I don't think I had a pull list quite yet. I think it was probably the next year. So it's like you kind of have to hit the character beats a lot, and so they're hitting them a lot. Although I love Moonstone's character beats and Jolt's too. It's just I'm getting sick of the other two.
Yeah, they're getting they're starting to like really retread the same things over and over again a little bit. But let's see. Abe, Melissa, and Carla. That's Mach 1, Songbird, and Moonstone. They're in a cabin that Songbird had under another name or something. I wonder why they didn't mention that in any previous issues. But Moonstone is like trying to work on some fuse or something, and she's messing it up. And she's like, "Oh, I haven't had coffee, and I'm having weird dreams," but she doesn't really want to talk about it. Songbird is like, "All right, Mach 1, why aren't you helping?" And he's just like, he's trying to repair his suit. And he's like, "This shit is hard. Techno made it, so I kind of like don't fully understand it. Plus, Graviton really fucked it up." Which I do like that scene of just him having to repair his suit. Like he is just a low-level henchman with a really good suit, and like he's smart, but like that's cool. And Jolt and Atlas come back in, and Songbird kind of doesn't stop. She's like, "Yeah, genius boy here can't fix his suit. Real useful, ain't he?" And Jolt's like, Songbird?
What's her deal? She's mad. She's real angry in this. Which isn't usually how I remember her being.
She's a little like unrealistically mad, to the point where I'm like, is this like some supervillain, like mind control thing going on here? But I don't actually think it is. I think it's just like maybe a little bit too extreme of a turn, you know?
But they
But I
bring
don't
it
know.
out so many times that it also feels
Yeah,
like something's
it feels
happened.
fishy,
Either
right?
she's either been replaced, or she's mind
But
control, as you said, or she's just really angry now because I mean we all can be in these situations.
Yeah,
but it is just like she was a supervillain. She was very like insecure and like enjoyed being a superhero, but like she has these sort of negative, dark triad personality traits where she's kind of a bully. She's kind of like doesn't like that Beetle or Mach 1 or whatever, like that he seems to have actually like fallen for her and like wants her to let her guard down, and she's like, no, never.
Hmm.
um,
Okay, that tracks.
um, and yeah. Carla kind of tries to calm things down a little bit, but Abe's like, I can speak for myself, and kind of confronts her, like, hey, you've been getting nastier and nastier, and she's like, well, maybe I'm getting tired of being with a sad sack loser, and then a big old gust of wind comes through. Oh, I didn't mention, God, best part of the issue, most important part of the issue. Earlier, Atlas and Jolt, when they were talking, they were being watched by a shadowy dude in the trees. We hadn't had one of those before.
Ooh, dude, in
Shadowy
the
dude in the
trees.
tree. Dude in the trees. Yeah, he's where all of our quotes came from. It's Cyclone, the French guy from the Masters of Evil. Big old gust of wind comes through, destroying the cabin. He's French. He's rude. He's talking so much shit. It's like funny and lame shit. Like, what was the line, Vince?
Is there one where he says that they are ugly and dumb and they have body odor?
Yep. It's very clear he's just trying to egg them into a fight.
They smell of elderberries.
He outmaneuvers all of them very easily. Abe tries to shoot missiles at him, and he leads those missiles right into Atlas's chest, which, of course, Songbird is like, Abe, what the fuck are you doing? Jolt manages to tag him with a zap. Jolt has some super speed when she really wants to, power and tap into it. And they zap him down. They've almost got him, but he bolts off, and Moonstone tells Jolt to pursue him for recon. And it seems like Cyclone was hoping he'd be followed. While Jolt is gone, Carla is kind of trying to put together a plan, but Songbird is just like, this all sucks. If I'm running from the cops, fighting all the time, we might as well be making money off of it. And the others are
That's
kind of
legit.
silently, the others are kind of silently considering this. Abe is like, God, would I stick with her if she does this? Carla is thinking like Abe would stick with her. And Atlas is like, this is bad, but I want to stick with the team. Jolt follows Cyclone to the base, but she's out of energy. It's too exposed. We got to attack later. So she heads back. All right. We see a news station in LA. They're talking about how the Thunderbolts are hot right now. Ratings spikes. And the public wants to know more about them. What is the deal with them? Are they villains? Are they heroes? So they're sending a reporter, Gail Rogers, to try and cover the Thunderbolts. She's going to try and follow them full time. And honestly, she kind of looks a lot like Dallas Riordan.
Yep, I thought it was Dallas Riordan when we were swiping through. Is it Dallas Riordan? No, that's not her. It's a different person.
In person. Gail Rogers. Then let's see. The Thunderbolts go and attack the base that they found Cyclone at, and they were expected. They get ambushed by the full Masters of Evil team. They get beaten pretty easily. For all the praise we were giving Kurt Busiek, what was this line? He had Flying Tiger called Jolt Slant Eyes? Come on, man.
Oh, that's why Marvel Unlimited had my this issue depicts scenes of racism. There we go.
Oh, I thought you
Oh,
said they
wow.
edited it out. I don't know. Might as well just edit that out. Let's see. They wake up. They're not tied up or anything though. And their leader, the Crimson Cowl, comes in. Was she with them the first time we met them? The Masters of Evil when they fought them earlier? I don't
Didn't
remember.
she teleport them in or out? I don't remember the details.
Something like that, yeah. And the Crimson Cowl shows up to give them a proposition. Join up with us. We got a pension plan, lots of amenities, your own movie theater. They show a map of the base, and Songbird's like, did that say sauna on there? And yeah, Cowl's like, we take care of each other here. Look at Claw. Black Panther just beat him up in an issue of Cable recently. He rescued him, and he's fine now. She didn't say that. The editor's note said it was an issue of Cable recently.
I like that Claw is like, hey, shut up about
Yeah,
that.
it's like, come on. Like, anyways, we know where you are, and if you don't join us, then we'll tell Zemo and the Wrecking Crew and everyone else you fucked over. But go think about it.
The
And,
Wrecking Crew. Oh no.
But as they're thinking home, they all do think about it. Moonstone's like, well, it would be a subordinate position, but they always start that way. Abe knows that Melissa's probably going to say yes. Melissa's thinking it would be easier and more comfortable. Alice is just thinking you can't let the team down. And Jolt is sitting there, probably the most worried, thinking they're all actually thinking about it. What do I do? Yeah, nice little ending. And the preview for next time, we're gonna have the winner of the Wizard Create a Villain contest.
Yes.
I can't wait to talk about this thing. If you don't know what's going on with it, don't look it up.
Okay, I
'Cause we're gonna
remember
have to
like
talk about it
I
more.
remember like Mega Man had like fans create villains for Mega Man 6. But so is that similar to this? It says is it he's on the cover, I'm assuming.
He's on the cover.
He
Yes,
looks
yes.
like
It's
he
Charcoal
looks
the
like-
Burning Man.
He looks like an 8-year-old drew this.
There's
Hank Hill's arch nemesis.
I was looking up some stuff about it afterwards. It's definitely going to be very fun to talk about next time. But I also don't know how much I want to spoil because he's not a one-time appearance.
I was gonna say, he's a regular character for like the next
a regular
25
character.
issues.
Yeah.
Burning Man? Yeah, Burning Man's still around.
Yeah. We'll get to it. But all right, this issue, I thought this was like a pretty big step up in terms of what we've been getting recently.
I
It's
agree.
probably the best issue since like number 12, I think.
We're definitely back on track after the
Yeah.
aliens, and like I think like the Hulk fight. I was like, why are we having this Hulk fight in the middle of like this issue with the GLA? Like that threw me. So I was like, this is good, but also like we need to get back on track with the character drama. And there's no Zemo in this issue, but
Yeah, none at all.
I guess he quote unquote died, didn't he?
Yeah, his base blew up last issue.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Chris, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. This was the best issue we've had in a while. I like bringing back the Masters of Evil. This is going to be a nice little arc of dealing with them. I think that group is a lot of fun. And yeah, I think we're ready to kind of move on to the next thing. Hopefully, Atlas is his new. This is the end of the character arc we've been dealing with, because I'm getting a little tired of it, but I'm still enjoying. Like, I think Moonstone's great. She wasn't in this issue that much, but I like, she's such an interesting character. It is just a shame to me that like she never, like, I could have read like a monthly book about her for like years and years, but then when Civil War happened, the Thunderbolts really kind of got turned into a different kind of book, and they're like, well, we can't have like, I mean, Moonstone was still part of it because she's in the Dark Avengers and everything, but she's written so thinly at that point, it's not fun anymore.
I was looking back into the Warren Ellis Thunderbolts, and like I think she's like actively trying to kill Songbird in that book.
Yeah, it's a little too much.
It's a little too much. Okay, I haven't read it in 20 years. So I forgot that I apparently colored one of the when Ellis and Deodato were behind. They had like fill-in issues that were like like kind of like annuals, and I forgot that I colored one of those Thunderbolt issues during that era. Yeah, don't look.
We're gonna read an issue that you were on.
No, this is like like in the hundreds of Thunderbolts, and it's
we gotta get there.
issue.
We gotta get there.
It's like Thunderbolts, Desperate Measures. It's not that one. It's a different one. I can show you. It's Chris. You'll love the coloring. It's so good. But I was like,
I believe it.
I was like, oh wow, like I definitely worked on the Thunderbolts and Guardians of the Galaxy before they were famous. I did find out, by the way, that I had spoiler alert for Thunderbolts movie. Songbird is in it. She's in the Thunderbolts movie. Yeah.
Whoa!
You'll never guess who.
Is it Taylor Swift?
Is it the character whose name Melissa? Perhaps. If you
Wait, there's a character named Melissa?
Yeah.
Look, I've seen the trailer once. I don't know what's going on with this movie. It looks like Suicide Squad, and I don't care about it.
Yeah, I know. It looks like they did, like, we have Florence Pugh under contract. Let's put her in a movie and make it about her. But apparently it's okay.
Not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. Because I was like, Kimberly, let's go see my wife. I was like, Kimberly, let's go see Thunderbolts. And she was like, I don't want to see that. And I was like, it's Florence Pugh. And she goes, all right, I do want to see that, actually. So it's a decent sell. So there we go.
All right, cool. Um, well, what are we doing? Is that anything else to say about
I don't
Thunderbolts?
think so. I'm
We're
excited to
done.
keep going though.
Yeah, what are we doing next time? Number 19. Continuing it. And of course, oh my God, we're doing more Kurt Busiek next time. We're doing basically the same thing next time, but Batman. It's a story that Kurt Busiek wrote, which is Superman's secret identity, but for Batman. It's called Batman Creature of the Night. It's about a young boy named Bruce Wainwright who knows about Batman, and then his parents get killed, and we'll see what happens. I don't think any of us have ever read it, though.
Have
But
not. It's drawn by the late John Leone, who did Static Shock, I think is what we covered for him.
oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think it'll be a good fit, like art wise.
Mhm.
I was flipping through it, but similar concept to Secret Identity. I've never read it. It's from 2017, if we didn't say that. So recent-ish.
Yeah, I'm very curious about it. Never even knew it existed, but yeah, I love this book so much, so I'm hopeful for the Batman version. So yeah, Batman Creature of the Night and Thunderbolts number 19. That's for next time. Of course, don't forget, winner of the Wizard Creative Villain Contest. And you know what we never did? We never picked a better name for Superman's secret identity. I think Batman Creature of the Night is also not the best name for whatever that's going to be. But
Superman in the real world. My name is Clark Kent, and I hate it. Something like that.
Something like I Hate Superman.
Oh yeah, that's a good one, but not like a villain. Secret Identity.
Maybe.
I think that's a good one.
Maybe how about
Oh,
Clark
Man
Kent?
of Today. That's a good one.
That's good. That's good.
Oh,
Yeah, because it kind of betrays the concept. Yeah, I like that. All right, that's what I got.
there we go. I like it. I think we're going with it. Great.
Sounds good.
All right. I'll call DC.
We'll retitle it.
What is this part of the show? It's the plugs part.
Plugs time.
Chris, what's going on?
We are continuing to dig through my back catalog of half-price books and/or dollar store DVD purchases. We covered, and most of these movies are now on Tubi, believe it or not. We covered The Prince and the Surfer, a Mark Twain updated version of The Prince and the Pauper that involves a California teen and the prince of a fictional country swapping places. A film, yeah, I know you'll never believe it. A film that features Linda Cardellini. The same year Freaks and Geeks comes out.
Oh wow!
Whoa.
So before she becomes pretty famous, pretty quickly after that. It also the Tubi version has a 1 minute extra scene that adds nothing, where it's just John Voight introducing the movie and saying that it was part of a collection of family-friendly movies that this studio was going to create. That same studio went on to create Baby Geniuses and Baby Geniuses 2.
Super Babies, yeah.
So clearly they stuck to their roots of family-friendly storytelling. So yes, it was a lot of fun to talk about a very stupid movie where almost no surfing happens.
Wow.
That's a missed opportunity.
Vince.
I've got nothing, but I did just listen to Chris and Nick's episode of Craven the Hunter, and that one was really funny. I liked when they questioned whether or not it was Craven that killed Epstein. I thought that was really funny. And, and they had a good trivia game that you'll have to listen to their show. It was, what are the 12 R-rated Marvel movies? And that was a pretty good
12 of them?
Yeah, no shit.
Yes.
Chris was like, "What the fuck?" So
Wow.
it's a good challenge. So go listen.
I got half of them very fast.
Yeah, and then you forget about some of them. Yeah,
and then you're just like, oh crap, there's like 5 more.
Yep. Yep.
Does Blade count?
Yeah, Blade.
Yep,
he got
Blade
Blade,
counts.
the Deadpools. It took him a while to get Logan. He completely forgot about Punisher, which I did too. To be fair.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Blade and Deadpool were the 6 where I was like, okay, I'm halfway there.
Yeah. But
Okay.
check out Your Stupid Minds. The Craven the Hunter episode was really, really good.
Great. Let's see. What do I feel like there's a lot of good TV on these days. This season of Survivor. I haven't really been a Survivor
really?
person, but it's a great season here. Yeah. MasterChef Australia is back. Best cooking show on TV.
Really?
Oh yeah. We got The Rehearsal season 2 is on. Y'all see The Rehearsal?
I'm hearing good things about that one.
Oh my God. Must see.
I have not seen that, but I'm excited to.
And then Mobland. Mobland's great. Y'all watch that?
I watch that. I love Pierce Brosnan.
Helen Mirren's great in that show. Oh my God. Yeah. She's fucking crazy.
I watched some of it, and it's just a show to me. It's just not wowing me.
That's fair. It's
got a great cast. I love to see Tom Hardy do his whole thing, but I'm just like episode to episode. I'm like, yeah, this is just washing over me like a warm bath. And
I can very easily see that show doing that. Yeah. But I'm enjoying it. It's cute enough for me, you know.
Again, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like I like that the White Lotus advertises itself as like this is a thing that makes you forget about it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's working. I don't remember anything that happens in these shows.
Fair. Anything else for us to say?
I think we're done. Me.
Okay. Well, Vince, I love you.
Love you too, buddy.
Chris, I love you.
You stink. And another thing.
God damn it. Motherfucker. Goddamn French. All right, listener, we love you too. Sorry about the French guy. We'll see you next time. Bye.